Welcome back. This is Cheryl with another word for Transformation Tuesday. I hope you're ready, and I am so excited that you guys have joined me here again. And I want to say to all my new subscribers, thank you so much. We are so thrilled that you're here, and I pray that you will be inspired, you will be encouraged and motivated in what I have to share and what God has placed on me. So for you who haven't subscribed yet, because a lot of you haven't subscribed, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you can stay up to date whenever I release new videos, and you will be in the know. Like always, let's get into this word. So for the month of August, I was asking God, Lord, what do you want me to share? And the word that he gave me, he said, let go of fear. I was like, let go of fear. So this is what we are going to talk about today. Letting go of fear and have faith to trust God. So let me start off by asking you, do you struggle with how to overcome fear? Do your fears cause you shame? Do your fears lead to doubt your faith in God? If you answer yes to any of these questions, then you are not alone. But I want you to know that God doesn't want us to live in fear, nor does he want us to fear anyone except for him and him alone. But he also gives us power to overcome fear. And what you have to understand is fear will bind us. It will cause us to become complacent and stagnant, whereas God wants to take us to new levels, new levels in him. And while we may not easily eliminate fear, we can most definitely overcome fear. Each fear that we overcome, and I want you to make note of this, each fear that we overcome opens the door to something extraordinary. I'm going to repeat that. Each fear that we overcome opens the door to something extraordinary. And I want you to know that God invites us to rely on his power and not on our own. And today I am going to discuss 5 things with you that can help you to overcome your fear and to walk by faith into the things that the Lord has for you. So first of all, I want you to name your fear. Sometimes fear creeps up on us, and it can be the source of that fear isn't obvious. When you feel afraid, you must identify what it is that you are afraid of. Name it. Write it down. If it helps, then you must say it. And when we look at fear, fear can come in different areas of our life. Fear can grip us so tight that it feels like if you can just take for 1 second to imagine a person who is chained up, just say they are just wrapped all the way around and they cannot move. They cannot get out of the bandages. They cannot get out of the chains. That is what fear does to us. Fear causes us to just be immobilized. We're just at a standstill. We can't do anything. We cannot move. Sometimes fear will cause us to even have a muzzle on our mouth where we can't even talk. And God doesn't want us to be like that. You know, fear will cause you to stay in an abusive relationship when you know that that relationship is not good for you. But fear will grip you and have it where you are afraid to move when you know that God doesn't want you to be in that relationship. But fear will kick into overdrive, and fear would have you question yourself. Well, how is the Lord going to provide for me? How am I going to do this, or how am I going to do that? Or sometimes fear can come in the form of, well, what is this person going to say? Well, what is this person going to think of me? Well, sometimes we think too much about how other people are going to perceive. And that's why we end up staying, because of fear. Fear of our current circumstances and fear of outside factors. Fear will cause you to miss opportunities. And those opportunities can be in the form of, just say with your job. If you know that there is a promotion that is coming available, but inside you have what it takes, but then that fear comes in and you're like, well, maybe I'm not good enough for that job. Maybe I'm not smart enough for that job, but you know that you are. And then guess what? You miss out on that opportunity. Someone else gets that job. And then you're like, oh, that should have been my job. But guess what? It was fear that held you back. Fear would cripple us. Fear would quiet us when God has given us a voice to be a vessel for Him. But the devil will play tricks on us in our mind. Sometimes that will come in the form of, I don't articulate my words clearly. I'm not eloquent in my speech. Remember, just like Moses, when God had placed a mandate on Moses, but Moses was like, basically, who am I, Lord? I stutter. I can't speak well. That was a form of fear. And that can cripple us. It can quiet us because we feel like we don't have what it takes. But all we have to do is just have faith and step out there. But God doesn't want us to just wallow in that fear. Sometimes we just have to step out. We have to just trust God. And fear can make you miss your blessings. A lot of times the blessings are there, but you have to step out. And if you don't step out, then a lot of times that blessing don't come. And one of the reasons is because of fear. Fear will cause us to miss out on things. But today, I want to help you to overcome fear. And even me myself, I've had issues with fear. But it took some time for me to get to that place where I could actually work the word that is in this book, made it applicable to my life, and act on that word. I prayed and I trusted God, and I turned it over to Him. And that was step one, when you name your fear. Just like I mentioned, how fear could cripple us, how fear could make us miss out on our blessings, how fear could just cause us to be in abusive relationships when we know that God has something else for us, something better, something greater for us, but that fear is keeping us where we're at. Name that fear. Write it down. The next step is for you to arm yourself with the promises of God. Replace the armor of fear with the armor of God. Write down and become familiar with scriptures and passages from the Bible that encourages you to lean on God. Read them aloud to yourself. And even for the month of August, the challenge that I have with letting go of fear, I have included scriptures to overcome fear. Like it is in Deuteronomy, the 31st chapter, the 8th verse. The Lord himself goes before you, and he will be with you, and he will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, and do not be discouraged. Romans 8:28. And we know that all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Isaiah 43:1. But now, this is what the Lord says. He who created you, Jacob, he who formed you, Israel, do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by my name. You are mine. 1 John, the 4th chapter and the 18th verse. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. Psalm 18:2. The Lord is my fortress, my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and my horn of my salvation, my stronghold. In 2 Timothy 1:7. And even in Isaiah 41:10, and this is one of my favorite verses that has been a part of my prayer life for many, many years now. Fear not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen thee. I will uphold thee with my right hand of righteousness. Isaiah 41:10. And that's how you arm yourself with God's promises, through his word, through his scriptures. Then the third point, I want you to surrender your fear. And what I mean by that, in many situations, fear serves an important purpose. Fear of death helps us to keep our eyes on the road so we don't swerve our car into other cars across a lane or in a ditch. Because of that fear, it helps us to stay focused. Fear of pain keeps us from putting our hand on a hot stove. But fear that holds us back from living, loving, and leading can hold us hostage. There is a difference. Surrender those fears one at a time. Give them to God with a simple prayer. And the prayer can be as simple as this. God, please take this fear of blank from me. I give it to you. And keep praying this until you let go. And it doesn't have to be long and elaborate. Just that mere prayer will help you. And when you pray that, God will help you and meet you at the point of your needs. So I want you to realize that we don't have to live in fear, because that God doesn't want us to live in fear. He wants us to live a glorious life. So I want you to imagine your success. Imagine your success. Imagine you with that new job. Imagine you out of that relationship, and just think of yourself in a better place. Peace of mind. You have peace now. Just think of yourself, just walking into those things that you know that God has for you, that you are speaking in front of thousands of people. Just imagine whatever that fear is. Just imagine if it wasn't a fear. We have an amazing ability to influence our outcomes. Do you believe that? We do, simply by our imagination. Many people have a habit of imagining the worst, but if you turn that around and start imagining the best, that will be so much better than having a negative mindset. And you're changing that to a positive mindset, and you're imagining the positive things. And once that becomes a part of you, then you will begin to see how your world is changing right in front of your eyes, simply because of redirection of your mind. By doing this, we set ourselves up. When we change our mind from negative to positive, we set our mind up from failures to achievements. Do you get that? We change our mind from failures to achievements, from failures to successes. So set yourself up for success by imagining successful outcomes. Set yourself up for success by visualizing success in what it looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like, what it tastes like. Write it down in a simple story form with you as the main character. You know how we have our smartphones? Go to your note section of your smartphone or your notepad, whatever, memo pad, and just begin to write it out. And lastly, I want you to act out your new story. What? Yes, act out your new story. We must exercise faith to strengthen our faith. Using the success you imagine as your script. Guess what? Now you are a playwright because you are writing out your own life. Take your first steps. You may feel weak at the knees at first, but I want you to keep going. Pause to rest and catch a breath if you need to. And when you're ready, take more steps. But set your feet firmly in the direction you want to go. And commit. I want you to commit to move forward. Allow the story to change as you move forward into where you want to go, into that new adventure. The story won't unfold exactly as you imagine it, but as long as you have something to work with, then you're in that right direction. But whatever happens, always imagine the success that God promises and keep exercising your faith, and it will grow. Now, whenever we struggle with a fear that's holding us back from fully enjoying life, it's an opportunity to trust God and to strengthen our faith. And one of the last things I want to leave with you today is let go of fear. Let go of fear and walk into the extraordinary life that God has for you. I want you to be blessed, and I want you to know that I am here with you, for you. I am walking with you. And always pray to God. Get in your word. Your word is what's going to help you through.